Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 3. Hope you're all doing well and looking forward to today's episode where we take on the B team of our parent club Betis B, whilst also making our debut on camera at least in the new division we've just started in. So welcome back, hope you're all doing well and looking forward to today's episode. If we could all drop a like on today's video, a target of 200 likes on today's video would be absolutely mental. Since you guys were last here for the transfer special, we've only signed one player. No one's left, we've only signed one player. As I said, it was going to be very, very quiet, although it's not the player you thought it was going to be. We did plan to re-sign Randy Schneider in the centre of midfield on loan once again, but he rejected us. He said no to us. He fancied going to Marbella instead and partying with all the Spanish rich people, which it makes more sense to me. So hopefully Randy has a lovely time in Marbella, but hopefully we'll make him rue that because Marbella are not in our division. They're in the same tier as us, but they're in the other division. We're in Division Pro A, they're in Division Pro B. Weirdly, they are predicted to come 11th in their division, whereas we were also predicted to come 11th in ours. So there's some sort of weird parallels there with Randy. But we have brought someone in, and that one person is Pablo Gonzalez, who I think we may have spoken about at some point. Weirdly, not all our transfers come into this season. Most of them counted last season, which is very bizarre, but basically they're this season's transfers. Pablo himself is a centre midfielder. He can play anywhere actually in that attacking spine of the squad, but we're going to play him mostly as a centre midfielder. Looks really, really good, as good as Randy Schneider as well. The best centre midfielder we've got at the club too, so I think will be a fantastic addition to the squad. But other than him, no one else has joined the squad at all. It is transfer deadline day, the 31st of August, and bids are coming in for Martel Taylor-Crossdale. Crossdale, he has a minimum fee release clause of £250,000, and Lugo have come in offering 135 up front, rising to £275,000. Now, we've already sold Anthony Ward for £4 million. He solved our financial issues, so I'd rather quite like to keep Martel Taylor-Crossdale at the club instead. So I'm going to reject this, but I am very concerned that it's very early in the day on transfer deadline day, and they'll just keep offering for him. So that's rejected. Transfer talk out of the way. I think we may have a few players on trial. All the trials are finished now. No one else was looking particularly good. So this is the team we've got. It looks quite small, but actually if we go to the squad registration, we've got 19 out of 20 outfield players over the age of 19, is it 19? Yeah, Jez Finley, if we actually sort it by this, Jez Finley and Jez Jezovic, both under 19. The only under 19 players we've got don't need to be registered, but everyone else does need to be registered. So we've got 19 out of 20 outfield players. We could do another goalkeeper, but we can pick one up on a free transfer down the line should we need to. So the squad actually is pretty much stacked out, to be fair. There's not much more we can do with this. So I think it's going to be okay. As I said, we are bookies' favourites to come 11th this season, and that's the sort of mid-table that the board want us, mid-table top half of the board want us to get this season. So if we just do that, we should be okay. Of course, we can boost the numbers in this squad with some players from the youth team, and I'm actually very tempted to do so because we've got some very good young players at the moment. Talking about young players though, I do need to say thank you to the newest members of the Patreon, and there's 5 new people to the Patreon, which is mental actually. So I've got on my other screen right now, which is why I'm looking over here, not directly at the camera, so I couldn't remember all the names in one go. But Brian, Gavin, Rick, thank you very much for your contributions. Meeks as well, thank you for your contribution. Massively appreciate that. But a big thank you goes to Scott Marshall. Scott Marshall has decided to take on Steve Spencer as his player and wants to be called Scott Marshall in game. And we now have a 2.5-star centre midfielder with 5-star potential. He has increased massively since joining the club. So Scott Marshall, thank you very much. And with that, actually, we might promote you to the first team along with a couple other players, actually. So there's quite a few of you can see here looking pretty decent. So Scott Marshall is one of them. Mateo Tomic, we actually brought in over summer. He's somehow gone to under 19, so we'll bring him up into the first team as well. And actually, he's 20 years old, so we might need to register him actually. So that would bring up 20 out of 20 players that need to be registered. And then Josh Thompson, who came through our youth intake a couple of seasons ago. He's got 2.5 stars of current ability, only 4-star potential though, but is right back and centre back and could be quite a useful option for us. I think we'll move him to the first team as well. So a couple of extra bodies in the first team under the age of 19 really helps us out quite a bit. Now, also, since you were last here, we have actually played 3 games of the Spanish Second Division Pro A season. And as you can see, we've had a pretty decent start to things. And I've tried to tweak the formations a little bit. Now, last season, we played against Real Majadahonda in the Cup and beat them 8-6 using a 4-4-3. So I thought, let's try and go for a 4-4-3 against them, or 4-3-3 against them again. And clearly, we just can't have low-scoring games against Rayo Majadahonda. We ended up winning it 4-3, but actually at one point, it looked like we were going to win it 4-1. They scored 2 goals very late on, but Crossdale, Kike, and Pablo Gonzalez on his debut getting the goals in that one for us to secure the 3 points. We then played a 4-3-3 against Murcia, a team that we played in Season 1. They got promoted alongside us last season from a different group that they were in, ended up being in last season. So we drew 2-2 with them. We knew it would be very, very similar to Racing Murcia, or University Murcia, I should say. There's 3 different Murcia teams. It's a bit confusing. But we knew at the very worst we'd be just as good as them. So we thought we'd go for the 4-3-3 again. And it works until they scored 2 goals very late on. Again, we were 2-0 up in that game and then dropped down to 2-2. So we're having a bit of an issue conceding late on in games. But again, we picked up a point and we weren't beaten. We then took on a team called, I'm going to try and pronounce this, Alcoyano, I think is maybe how you say their name. But they are a team that have been sort of established at this level since its inception. So they are a little bit better than us and predicted to come higher in the table than us. So I thought we'd try the 5 at the back formation. And this time, we were the team scoring very late on. They scored a goal just before half-time, but in the 92nd minute, Kike came through and made it 1-1. So I think we've had a really good start to life in the 3rd tier of Spanish football, despite it being called the 2nd division. It's the 3rd tier of Spanish football, which is very, very confusing. But as you can see, 9th in the table, 5 points, 1 win, 2 draws, one of only 4 teams, not to 5 teams, not to lose so far this season. It's good going. Kike also joined 2nd in the top scorers as well, so he's doing very well for himself. Raul Jr. is top of the assists. But today, obviously, Betis, the B team of our affiliate club, that's going to be a very interesting game to play. And then we'll also take on Atletico Belarus, I think is maybe how you say that name. So looking at the season preview, Betis actually predicted to come 11th in the table, just behind us. So that's been an interesting game. Whereas Atletico Belarus, which I'm going to say wrong all episode, I do apologise, predicted to come 8th, just ahead of us. So these are going to be 2 very tight games. Luckily for us, the transfer window has finished and no one else came in for Crossdale, so that's actually very nice. For whatever reason though, Josh Thompson was not moved across to the first team though. Why was that? We asked him to be, and now we can't do it. So Josh Thompson not getting moved over, that was very weird. Now, as we wait for this Betis game to come along, you'll see that 5 players are going to be in international duty for the next game we play. There's nothing we can do about that. There was a game afterwards where players were in international duty, which we have postponed, but because only 5 players are away for this one, we don't have to postpone it, apparently. I presume most of those players are under 19 players in the B team or something like that, so I don't think we have to worry about that too much. So for this first game against Betis, we're going to go for a 4-3-3, I reckon. See what we can do, what damage we can do. Anthony Ward, of course, will be our goalkeeper this season with Javi Vazquez as our left back and Lopez our right centre back. But the left centre back position and the right back position are still up for grabs. In today's game, we'll play Eusebio Monzo and Noguera in the right back position as well. Or is it Noguera? I'm really going to struggle to say his name properly. And also, if I get it wrong, that's going to sound terrible as well. So just for safety, I might just change his nickname to Javier, because that's what it is, his first name is. Javier also much easier to say, so Javier starting at right back despite being a left back with a right foot. Chitigel, Gonzalez and Cipollina start in the centre of midfield with of course Kike, Crossdale and Raul Jr. leading the line. So as kickoff is upon us, it's a new season, a new league, and there's plenty of reasons to be excited for this season. I'm really looking forward to seeing how we handle ourselves against opposition a step higher than us, who technically aren't really a step higher than us, because only 2 seasons ago we were all in the same division, then they all got messed about because Spain are going some mental stuff with their footballing pyramid right now. And it's called for 2nd division, despite it being the 3rd tier. It's all really bizarre. But Javier on the ball, gets a ball into the middle, cleared by Betis B, who of course wouldn't let us have any of their players, which was really annoying. I kept bidding for them, trying to get them on loan, and none of them. Raul is surely offside there by a long, long way. Doesn't even show me the replay. Didn't show me a replay of that one. I guess that's because how obvious the offside was. We could all see that one. But as I was saying, obviously Betis B wouldn't let us have any of their players, despite us being an affiliated club. And we're going to show them today that we don't need their players because we'll beat them. Corner ball for us though. Gonzalez puts it into the middle and Andre Chitigel was there waiting in the middle, trying to knock that one into the back of the net. But Javi Vazquez puts that one forward, not quite getting to its intended target. The new left back puts it forward to Kike instead, who squares it to Raul, and that is Raul's first goal of the season. He's got 4 assists, No goals yet, apart from the one he's just scored now, obviously. But just as I look at Raul scoring the goal, the notifications come through on my phone from One Football. It tells me that Lincoln Red Imps have just scored a goal against Betis B. Of course, today's video is sponsored by One Football. And if you haven't downloaded the app yet, there's a link in the top line of the description to download the app for free. It is the best footballing app out there for all the news, live scores, transfers, team news before the games, team news after. Literally everything you could possibly want is on that app. And actually, I saw on Twitter, starting today, they do have the rights to show the German Cup on their app. So if you're a German football fan, download this app because you can watch the German Cup games for free on the app, which is pretty mental. Like, what other football app out there has TV rights for games? It's mad. Either way, starting off the second half, we are still 1-0 up against Betis B. Nothing else happened in that first half as Lopez now to Eusebio Monzo, back to Anthony Ward. Let's not concede early on. If we can score early on, that would be great as we lose possession. Here we go. Here's Betis' goal. I can feel it coming. Lucas Emmanuel gets the ball and wins a penalty. Not a penalty. Oh, I thought it was going to be a penalty. No, instead, Eusebio Monzo clears the ball and Raul Jr., bearing down on goal, makes it 2-0. What a fantastic start to the second half. Will it show us that penalty claim? No, it won't. I guess it wasn't that close of a penalty, but usually when you see a player go down at the start of a highlight in the area like that, it means penalty. Luckily, it didn't. It meant Raul got a goal instead. So Raul doubling his tally for this season already, as well as we go up to 6th in the table as things stand, which is amazing. Remember though, we do have a habit of conceding a lot of goals late on, as you saw in the fixtures in between episodes. So let's not hold our breath too much as Kike goes wide with that shot. I think he was also offside on that one, to be fair, which is probably right. In the meantime, let's make some changes with half an hour to go. Crossdale off for Onino, and then I'll also take Javi Vazquez off for Javier, who is more of a left back than a right back, but it's a bit weird. And then we'll bring Kian Ronan on at right back, because I want to see how he does at right back as well. But also want to see how Javier does at left back too, because he can play both sides. And we're very, very useful to have as a player if he can play both sides frequently for us, should we need him to. But we need to know we've got a good... Here we go. I told you, we always concede late in these games, and it's going to happen now. I'll be honest with you, I could probably change a few things to try and actually mitigate this, but because we didn't have this issue last season, I refuse to believe that I'll change anything. I don't want to... Basically, I'm just very stubborn or lazy and just don't want to go to the time and effort of changing tactics. That's also a thing with it as well. But with 10 minutes or so to go, including added time, Lopez with a free kick into Gonzalez puts the ball forward over the top, which hasn't quite met Raul, but Eusebio Monzo at centre-back, who's played quite well today, I must say, at centre-back. So Eusebio is a candidate to have that role full-time, as Kian Ronan now just hoofs it to Javier and nearly loses possession. Javier then hoofs it up to Kike instead. This is a bit of hoofball, but hoofball has worked as Onino Jr. picks up his first goal of the season, and we go 3-1 up against Betis, and hopefully that will give us the 3 points today. So as the clock ticks down, it looks like we are going to get all 3 points as a highlight right now. It'll be a bit squeaky bum time if Betis go and score a goal now, but I think we should be okay. As Kike in the area, he deserves a goal today, Kike. He's not got it though. The resulting corner though, I don't think anything will come of it as Gonzalez puts it into the middle, cleared, and I think that's going to be that. And that is going to be that. We win the game 3-1 away from home as well, which is absolutely fantastic, and it's our second win of the season. So a fantastic result for us there, and the team we are playing next are 18th in the table with only 1 point on the board. I was going to go 5 at the back against them. However, just seeing that now makes me think actually the 4-3-3 is the way to go against Atletico Baleares. Oh, it might be Baleares. Either way, a few days off before we take on Baleares in the league. Obviously, a few players missing on international duty, but I don't think anyone senior is missing. I think the senior players leave a few days later on when 14 players are on international duty. I hope, at least. Weirdly, within a game to take place today. Did everyone else play yesterday? Everyone played on Wednesday rather than Thursday. We're playing on the Thursday. So these are the results from Wednesday. But I think it's a bit too early on in the season to sort of take anything from this. We don't know who's good and who's bad yet. But we do know that I'm saying it wrong again. Atletico B, that's Atletico Madrid B, isn't it? Atletico Bell, let's just call them that. That's much simpler. They aren't good this season. We can tell that already. So hopefully we should have a routine win here today again. We will change the lineup a little bit as some youngsters who I wanted to play in today's game. I wanted to get Jez Finley on. I wanted to get Scott Marshall on. I wanted to get O'Neill Jr. on. They're on international duty. A little bit annoying. What we will do instead, though, is bring Carmona onto the bench. Let's also bring, not Scipio. Scipio onto the bench. He's not injured. It's Tomic that's injured. And let's also bring, just because there's only one more space, Kenneth Cipollina on too. Eusebio Monzo is going to come off for Carmona today. I want to see how he plays at the back. Scipio will come on for Michael Cipollina. Jezovic is what does he like to do? Poacher, that's kind of it. Well, in the meantime then, Jezovic, you'll come on as a pressing forward. And they are the only changes that I want to make to the lineup right now. So then, kickoff is upon us here today, and a very early highlight is almost put into the back of the net as Shitty Joel meets Gonzalez's corner. In the meantime, Atletico Bell look to come forward through Giovanni, and he's... Fair play to him. Fair play to him. He's done very, very well. I must say, sometimes all you can do is just applaud. Just applaud goals like that sometimes. I mean, that was absolutely fantastic. Take a bow. Honestly. I mean, I think even our fans were cheering that to some extent. Look at them. Some of them standing up having a clap. It was a great goal. Some goals are just unstoppable, and I feel like that's one of them. Anthony Ward did his best, but we've got over it now. We've applauded it. Let's actually go and win this game now. Let's prove to Atletico Bell that we are the better team. Apparently not. 20 minutes into the game now, and it's disallowed. Oh, that's all right, it's disallowed. Almost missed that, to be fair. I just had to delete. You'll notice in the comment section sometimes, porn bots, basically. They're all the comments, and it's all the scantily clad women in all the profile pictures, and they comment things like, love you, wow, need a boyfriend, stuff like that. If you see them, usually I try and delete them as soon as I see them myself. But if you do see them, just make sure you report them, because they are all scam stuff. Tifo did a good video on it, explaining it. It's all scam stuff, so obviously don't click those links that they post in there, and just if you see them, report them. Also, if you can report Atletico Bell for false advertising, they advertise themselves as being a terrible football team by only having 1 point. They've now gone 3-0 up against us in 36 minutes. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. We came into this game thinking it was going to be easy. It's not. I feel like such a fool now for clapping Giovanni. I guess the players saw it. They saw him on the sidelines clapping Giovanni. That was it. They saw it. Heads dropped. That they're gone. I can't believe it. I can't believe what I've just seen there. 4-0 down. How has this suddenly happened? We played brilliantly against Betis. Brilliant. And literally... They've nullified whatever we want to do as Shitty Gel nearly scores a free kick. How has this happened all of a sudden? I said I was going to play 5 at the back, but then I saw them bottom of the table nearly, so I thought, no, we'll go 4-3-3. Should have stuck to 5 at the back, shouldn't we? Jeez. We're not changing now, though. We're not changing now. I'm not changing formation. We're 4-0 down. The worst it's going to get is worse. There's no point going defensively. We may as well just go 5-0 down. I think what we need to do is get Kike off the pitch for Taylor Crosdale, bring him on instead. Scipio, unfortunately, has played a terrible game, so let's bring Yaya on instead. And Carmona, I want you to shine today. You've not shone. You've done the complete opposite. Let's get you off the pitch for Pedreza. In the meantime, Kike on the ball. Go on, lad. That's the best we've done all game. The best we've done all game, Matt. Well, the sooner this one's over, the better, I must say. Unless Shitty Gel, of course, fires one into the back of a net like it's offside. A penalty! A penalty! We've been given a penalty. Who's on it? Can I change it, please? I've missed the bit to change it. I was going to give it to Shitty Gel because I wanted him to score a goal. But Yaya's on it instead. Go on, Yaya. Make my day. He's made my day by at least getting 1 goal back. Can you love to see he runs to pick the ball up himself because apparently he thinks we can score another 5 goals in 15 minutes. I like your enthusiasm. I rate it. I just don't think we're going to do anything with it. And as you can see, by the time on the clock, we're not going to do anything with those 15 minutes. We lose the game 5-1 at home. Rather embarrassing. I'm going to throw a water bottle, far from pleased. And a few players seem demotivated by that. they're the weak ones. I say that, they're the only 3 players that I'm actually very, very confident about. Anthony Ward, Lopez and Gonzalez. You hate to see it. Not the worst thing in the world though, only our first loss of the season. If we can only lose 1 game in every 5 games we play, we'll be absolutely loving that by the end of the season. 8th in the table after 5 games, we're looking good. I'm happy with how we're doing. Right, next time out, I think we play against this team called Baracaldo, who are 20th in the table, and see if playing teams near the bottom of the table result in us losing 5-1 every single time. And then we'll also play Racing Santander, who I thought was the B team of Racing Santander, because I know Racing Santander were a La Liga club recently, but no, it's the actual Racing Santander club. Their B team here is the division below us, or 2 divisions below us, one of the 2. This is the actual club who were in La Liga as recently as 2011-2012. Either way, I think that'll be a really interesting fixture. Obviously, they're predicted to do very well this season, so it'll be a good test of our mettle. So thank you ever so much for watching today's episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And of course, if you have done, drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.